so on and so forth. Right?
Yeah, started the recording. So hello everyone. I know it's just me and Miro, but yeah, it's this is our first Paralus community meeting of this year. We have been thinking of arranging this meeting for a long time. So this is the first community for this year community meeting of 2024. Uh, I think I have already shared the screen, so you can see some meeting it is tickets and other instructions. So yeah, uh, again, yeah, just to mention the date, it's 20th January 2024, and as I said, it's a Parallels community meeting, and we will just adhere to Parallels code of conduct, which basically boil down to being respectful and kind to each other. So yeah, in case if there are any questions or anything, or if you have any point, feel free to raise hand and then we can take it up. Cool. Um, so just write down the name as attendee. Yeah. Okay. So since this is our first
Yep.
meeting, we all are new here. So maybe we'll just introduce ourselves. Um, uh, okay, I'll just start with mine. So my name is Akshay Gaikwad. I'm the backend developer. I worked for Rapai. Um, I have been contributing to Paralus and also the maintainer of Paralus from its beginning. Uh, Apart from other work and Paralus, I do contribute to other open source project in my free time. I love attending conferences, attending meetups. So if you are around, if we both share the conference or meetup to, uh, feel free to say hi to me. Yeah, so that's about me. Nirav, would you like to introduce?
Hey, thank you, Akshay. Yeah, so hello everyone. So yeah, this is Nirav. I am a fellow maintainer for Paralus, and apart from Paralus, I work on building a few other tools which involves around infrastructure, provisioning, and platform. So that's mostly related about the work. Apart from that, I do kind of like watching, a lot of web series and movies. And then I do play a little bit of badminton once in a while. So I tend to keep myself active because we are in such an industry where we for the most of the day we are kind of sedentary. So this is about my personal interest as well. So yeah, it is good to catch up here, and hope to have these recurring meetings where we can discuss a lot about Parallels and more. So yeah,
Cool.
that's
Thanks,
mostly
Nirav.
about me.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just get started with the discussion topics. So first is just like one this about this meeting from my side. So this is like the community meeting this is the recurring meeting that we plan to that is scheduled on second and fourth of Tuesday of each month. And it will like basically it will be for half an hour starting at 8:30 p.m. IST timelines. So for more details, you can check out the community page on our document. It has other things like how to join the call and the agenda, links to the agenda document, which will point to here. Okay. So that's one thing I just wanted to highlight. Okay. Next is from Niro. So over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Akshay. So yeah, what we'll do is, over a period of consecutive calls, we'll talk or deep dive into Parallels, right? We can talk a lot about the core components. We can talk a lot about how they work. But for today, I'll restrict myself to talking about what is Parallels, and probably just skimming through what are the features that Parallels has to offer, right? And maybe in the upcoming calls, we can even see a small demo of how it works and things like that. All right, so. What is Paralus, right? So Paralus is essentially it's a free open source CNCF sandbox project, and it enables controlled and audited access to your Kubernetes clusters, right? So how do you generally access to your Kubernetes clusters, right? We create RBACs, and generally the cluster admin is responsible for creating your CRs or role bindings associated with your service accounts, and eventually you as a user or a developer get access to the Kubernetes cluster. But managing this across a fleet of Kubernetes clusters is going to be really challenging, right? And that is where Parallels comes into the picture. So with Parallels, it's as easy as for all your existing Kubernetes clusters, all you have to do is import that cluster into Parallels once you have deployed it. And Parallels has a set of inbuilt roles. It obviously has a set of, or you can access the Parallels dashboard, and given the user and the corresponding role, which the admin will be able to assign, you will be getting the corresponding access to the Kubernetes clusters, right? So that's how the entire stuff kind of works, and you can do your web kubectl against the Kubernetes clusters, which may be in any part of the world, right? It can be probably in an edge machine, it can be on your on-prem, it can be any cloud Kubernetes cluster, it can even be a local kind cluster, right? For that matter, as long as it's accessible and has access to the internet, and it's able to talk to the Parallels core. So that's the beauty of Parallels. It acts as a proxy. So whenever you kind of execute commands against it, the Parallels core or the release server, which acts as the proxy, intercepts those requests and forwards those requests to the corresponding Kubernetes clusters that you have imported. So we do have agents running on these imported clusters, which will be able to help forward these Kubernetes the kubectl commands to the corresponding API servers, and we get the response back. So this is at a very high level, and what Parallels does. Let's talk a little bit about the features. Hey Akshay, so if you can just go to parallels.io website and move to the features section.
Sure, sure.
Mm, yeah, yeah, right. So here, as you can see, right, we can import multiple clusters against your projects, right? So there is a concept of project, which is essentially combining your set of clusters into a particular project will help you define roles and give permissions to a set of people to that project, right? If I have to give an example, let's say there is a department in your organization, right? And maybe there is a QA department, right? Or a business unit which has a set of clusters that it needs, right? So you can create a project, you can import all these corresponding clusters to that project, and then define access against that project, and provide those access to the users, and the users eventually will be able to see only those projects and access only the clusters within that project. So you can manage all of that from this dashboard. So that's one. So there is zero trust security by default baked into Parallels. That is the most important thing, right? So here, every component that Parallels has, right? We touched upon the relay server, relay agent, few components that are communicate with each other. They communicate with each other via MTLS, right? So there is a mutual TLS. There is a cert that is assigned to the agent component, and every request that comes in from the agent to the server has the cert details with it, and the relay server is eventually able to validate and authorize that particular request, that hey, it is coming from a valid component, and not by some person who's kind of trying to hack into your system. So zero trust is baked in by default. There is nothing additional that you need to do here. So that's one. Yeah, and not the least, but right. So we touched about a lot of things where there are users, there are roles, there are clusters which can be imported, and all of this comes together. But as and when a user logs into the system and executes certain commands against clusters, we kind of track all of those. So we have an audit log mechanism So which comes quite handy when we have organizations who want to track what commands were being executed against a command, and it gives the admin super high privileges and to able to see what commands got executed and all of that stuff against the clusters. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, and last but again not the least, so you can access it via the web, which is the dashboard, execute commands there, or even download the kube config and use your local kubectl, which is installed in your local machine, to execute commands, or even use the CLI to kind of spin up and import clusters and associate users and execute your commands eventually, right? So yeah, comes with multiple interfaces.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, can you go back, please?
Yeah, sure.
So there is these. Yeah, go back to the website. Go back to the home page, and on the left we'll see a bunch of first class objects. I just want to cover that alone for
Okay.
today.
For the
The
documentation,
rest of yeah. Just come to the usage section. So we won't go through all of that. But yeah.
yeah.
So we touched about most of these, right? Just wanted to reiterate them. Um, so yeah, we have these as the first class objects within Parallels, right? So we have clusters which can be imported. We have groups, right? So you can essentially create a group, have a bunch of users against that group and assign access to that particular group, right? And what Parallels proxy will do is eventually anybody from that group tries to access, it'll actually create the necessary role binding or CR and cluster role binding on your target cluster, which is just in time provisioning, right? So all this happens behind the hood, and you will eventually be able to execute commands. So groups is just a way of kind of putting stuff together, or giving unified access to a set of users, right? We spoke about audit logs as well. Yeah. So we spoke about audit logs as well. We spoke about not about namespaces. So this is yet another thing, right? So we spoke about inbuilt roles. There are a few set of inbuilt roles, right? For example, an admin can is equivalent to having a cluster role, right? So he'll be able to access and execute all the commands against the Kubernetes cluster, right? And then we have namespace specific roles, namespace read only or namespace write. Yeah, this exact list, right? These are inbuilt roles that Parallels comes with, and namespace specific roles are where you can tag a particular a set of one or more namespaces to a particular role and user combination, and that user will be able to access only those namespaces and run commands against only those, right? So yeah. Yes, thank you, Akshay. I guess this is what I wanted to cover for today. Uh, Given we don't have enough time, I'll in upcoming sessions we'll try to cover the core components and even see a small demo, right, on how we can get started with Parallels. But yeah, that's it for today.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I think I don't know if you spoke about the users. So basically, we support SSO users too, along with the local users for Parallels. So
Yeah,
SSO,
yeah. Sorry.
we can basically you can log in using your existing OIDC system, OIDC provider. Yeah. There is also one in the pipeline which is regarding SAML support for login users. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
can
that was a
more
great point.
details
Yes,
on
yes.
there. Yeah. Yeah, there is also one great session given by Nirav only in last case study Bangalore. So maybe I'll just try to link it, the recording of that. There, if you have the recording, maybe just add it in this document so that they
Sure, I'll update.
can check it out.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so, yeah, it's covered most of the things along with the demo and all. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Nirav, for that. So this is another topic that I have added. This is something reported by Ethan on the Slack. So, um, so we have basically updated our annotations, cluster annotation in version 2, 0.2.4. Okay. So this is the PR for that. So basically, yeah, we have changed the annotation for relay in the cluster, something from relays to parallels.tav/relay to standardize this annotation. Okay, but basically this lead to an issue where it lead to issue for existing clusters in the database. So the already imported clusters that are present in the database, so that the annotations remain the same. There is no change in the annotation. So for them, for them, they have to like update the database annotation value by themselves after upgrading to 2.4. Okay, so version 0.2.4. So basically, this is something that could be an issue for the existing clusters. So yeah, we currently we are we haven't noticed this change. So what we need to do is we need to like maybe provide some script or set of DB queries to update database, the cluster annotations in DB. Okay, and we'll just link it to the release page. Okay, so anybody upgrading to 0.2.4, they should be aware of this. Okay, and another thing is we need to make note of such things in future. So if there is anything that we are checking that would affect the existing cluster, either we have to provide proper breaking chain section, or if possible, we can also provide a script to migrate their old DB data to the newer data. So yeah, that is one thing. Do you have any
This
comments?
was a very important lesson, right? So, no, very important lesson for us. So, yeah, we obviously have to be backward compatible, right? With folks starting to use Paralus, and you know, we have so many versions out there, right? And folks probably starting now would use the latest, but you know, folks like Ethan and a few others who've already started using Paralus would kind of keep upgrading to the latest, right? With to make use of all the new features that we are providing. So definitely lesson learned. We'll have to be super backward compatible. We'll have to ensure that things are not breaking. But yes, we have not, or we are still, you know, making drastic changes. Right? We are adding a lot of features. We're adding a lot of bug fixes. And in case if there is a breaking change, please look at the breaking change within the release notes and be super careful when you actually upgrade your Parallels code. That's one thing I just wanted to say.
Okay, sure. So basically, I'll take it up. I'll just create an issue for this, just to write upgrade steps for this, and we'll just uh, at last we'll just attach it to the release notes. Okay, it would be like good first issue, I believe, because it's just a few things that
Mm,
I did. So yeah, yeah, it would be, yeah. We'll
right.
just see if anybody interested in work on that. Okay. That brings us to the end of the discussion topics. Yeah, and yeah, that's also. Do you know, or anyone else, do you have any other agenda, last minute topic that to discuss before we close the call?
No, so I just had one thing. Probably what something can be useful in the next meeting. So there are two things that I have in mind, right? Maybe we can. One is just showcasing a quick recorded demo on how to install Parallels and stuff like that. That I'll take up during the next meeting. And the third one was to talk in detail about the core components that are there, so that folks who want to contribute can also, look into them, and then they'll be able to easily understand the components and start contributing. So just add that as to do items, and I'll take these up in consecutive meetings. This is just
Definitely,
one thing.
definitely. Yeah, it would be like along with the since this is we are going to record this meetings, so it will work as a the documentation. If somebody is interested in looking into the working or the core components of Parallus, they could go through this recorded session, and it would be helpful for them.
Yeah, and also to all the users or folks who are trying out Paralus, please do ensure to join these meetings that happen every second and fourth Tuesday, as Akshay already mentioned, right? Be it a small issue or be it a major blocker for you. In case if you are not able to respond on time, we generally try to respond back within a few hours of your concern. But if we are not able to do utilize these meetings where we can talk about your blockers or the problems and how to improve them. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I guess we can close the call. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.